the past two cycles were controlled by BTC OGs, right?
Yeah.
And those are the people who've now exited in a very large manner. Like I mentioned, the kind of BTC OG selling that we've seen in this cycle,
Yeah.
this amount of selling, had it happened, the cycle would have been over last year.
रिश्ते में तो हम तुम्हारे बाप होते हैं.
The true litmus test will be whether 100K breaks above and shorts start getting squeezed above that, or we reverse again from that 100K. I think that is what people should be focused on more, because it does not matter. Because trying to predict whether we reverse from here or $2,000 below or $2,000 above is like sitting at the slot machine in a casino, right?
So your
What
50-week
happens at
moving
100K
average.
is what is going to be a true is going to be the true point of analysis, is what I feel.
So your
And there's a
50-week
big
moving
camp,
average
and
is at
there's a big
100K.
camp today, and people that we know and follow.
Not just the 50s, the 50 and 200 both actually.
Yeah, and they're sort of on the consensus that 100K is going to be the point of reversal. Like a Ben Cohen is saying that 100K is going to be the point of reversal. We maybe rally up till 100K and then we reverse back from there. So that is going to be the true test of for this supposed cycle that we're in. But yeah, that's going to be the point of
Yeah.
analysis, is what I would say.
So your 50-week moving average is at 100K. Your 200-day moving average is around that as well. And why Ben
Fair enough.
Cohen?
98K.
Yes, and why Ben Cohen is saying कि वहां से पलटेगा. So what he does is like he compares the uh, chart today with similar points of BTC in previous cycles, right? And right currently he's convinced that we are in a same chart pattern or same pattern as the 2019 cycle. And at that point of time, when BTC had sort of given up its 50 week moving average and closed like 2 weeks below that point, it then sort of rose up back to its, then sort of bounced back to its 200-day moving average, and then before continuing its further trend down. So that is what he is saying. There are also like other.
Which makes sense. Which makes
Yeah.
sense because, but the only point of difference for me, and the only point of contention that I have probably with him, is the fact that economic conditions are very different from the past two cycles. Number one, right? I think we've been in a situation where jobless claims were sort of on the downtrend constantly from that point of time, because we were in a money printing sort of boom. And the other bit is, I don't know how much of this holds true. This is more like a conspiracy theory. Uh, the past two cycles were controlled by BTC OGs, right?
Yeah.
And those are the people who've now exited in a very large manner. Like I mentioned, the kind of BTC OG selling that we've seen in this cycle,
Yeah.
this amount of selling, had it happened, the cycle would have been over last year. We wouldn't have been trading at 125K a month back. Let me tell you that much.
Yeah.
Right? So we are, and leverage is not the situation here, because we've seen riskier leverage in crypto in the last cycle. We saw leverage without any collateral. We all leverage today is secure leverage. ADR as a concept did not exist last cycle. Let me tell you that much. ADR as a concept last cycle meant the trading shop shutting down. I mean, we've seen that with multiple sort of these firms, right? So it's very different. So leverage is something that I won't blame. So for me, it's the conditions are very different this time. Like I mentioned, the people controlling or people interested in controlling the cycle last time are very, very different, which is why we've not seen an alt cycle this time, because the OGs this time were more focused on not hurting price, because I'm sure they're still holding on to some of their stack, right?
Yeah.
Their goal this time was, let's work with the institutions, let's offload gradually without hurting price and sentiment. To sentiment, actually, they can't control, because sentiment is CT. So let's sort of control price action as much as we can, and they were focused on exiting positions which they've held for the past 15 years.
I'm a trader. I look at it from a I look at it from a perspective of what's going to happen in the next year or so, right? And as realist says that yeah, the litmus test is around the price action of 100K. And to be honest, my analysis says about 98K is what tells us. And what the litmus test is basically your weekly closing above 98K, right? That's what's going to tell you, because it might touch 98K during the week, but that's what tells us is if people are offloading, right, then you're going to go back down. And if it gets rejected from 98K and doesn't really close that week above 98K, you're going to see more downside. And the reason why I say is when we're talking about downside, there are a lot of people who actually trade, and there are trading some trading spots and some are trading leverage, and most of people over leverage themselves, right? So you have to be very careful as to what your liquidation levels are, and how low can BTC go. I mean, at 10, 20, 30x, you need to be aware that, maybe BTC could go to 72K or 75K, and you need to be aware of these levels. So if you're trading actively, I look at it from perspective, okay, BTC has come below its 200 moving average. It is now, you know, hovering way under it. There are the next resistance that we're seeing, if it breaks 80, is 72 to 74K. And it doesn't mean that BTC can't go any lower, or BTC can't even touch 70 to 74K. My trading strategy would be, I would start loading up positions anywhere from 81K and below, right? And I will keep DCing and I'll keep adding it, because the idea is the same, that when we talk about bear market, it's not about having 2 years of bear. Yes, because they, like everybody's saying, things are changing. It's not going to be that way. You're not going to see a 60, 70, 80% drawdown. You can't expect BTC to go to, like, say, 50K. I mean, the entire, like we are saying that, we're lagging behind, price is lagging behind. But these corrections are healthy corrections that are required, and they help in trading. So I would place my orders around those times, and then and honestly, I mean, like, I'm looking at the 98K valuation. If BTC does cross 98K, then my trading strategy changes. Then I'm looking at things that are going much higher, right? And then probably BTC doesn't. I'm not saying that BTC is going to do a 2x from there, like it's going to do 250 or 300K, but that move of BTC from 100K to maybe 115K or 115K, which is where your major resistance is sitting, that move is what's going to sort of act as a catalyst for your altcoin market, right? It's going to push that altcoin rally that we've been waiting for. And when does that happen? Of course, we have to look. We can't say that it's going to happen in November or December or January. We have to look at the price. We have to look at the chart. We have to make sure that the price is either validated or invalidated, and then based on that, you trade accordingly. And that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yes.
So, I've been saying, okay, like 200 moving average se niche gir gaya, toot gaya, and then there's this trend line that BTC needs to revert back from, right? And I've been talking about this chart for a while. What I did today was, I just wanted to see, if I zoom out a little more, what do we see, right? And yeah, the chart looks weird, but give me 1 minute. Yeah, same trend line, right? And what is happening is, if I'm corrected a little bit better, there you go. So BTC is currently sitting here. That when I say 72, 73 is what I'm looking at, right? Literally, that is where it needs to sort of touch to revert back to sort of move back up. And this is where what I'm counting on, right? So this is what I'm looking at. BTC has the tendency to sort of always, I know, you have your economic data and everything, but BTC also has a tendency to sort of move in their certain pattern. And I think there is, I'm not saying that this is not a good time to buy. Of course, you can good time to buy, but I believe that there is a possibility that we can touch this trend line and then move back up. I would, I would personally keep loading all the way down till it touches that line and then wait for it. That's what I would do.
You think 72, 73?
Yep.
That is pretty much bear market territory.
No, it's not, bro. Bear market territory. See, this is where we most people are getting confused, right? Bear market territory. If you look at the previous cycles, it was down 70%, 80% down. I mean, BDC goes to 25K, goes back to like $3,000. It touches 50K, goes back to $15,000. Those were bear market pricing. From the current pricing, if you look at, we're at 40% down. It's not bear market. These are corrections. BTC has done corrections of 35, 40% in the previous markets as well. You just need to look at it from it's not always that every time BTC is moving down, it's bear market. No. Sometimes these are just corrections.
Yeah, but it is a bear market correction.
No,
It's a
no,
50.
I will. It's not bear market. Bear market means the price goes down to, let's say, 50K or 40K and then survives there for another 6 months. That's what you call a bear market.
I would disagree. The market ठप हो जाएगी अगर if it goes to 70K, like it'll be dead.
Why is this echo? One of you go mute, please.
Let's see, bro. I mean, this is what I feel, and I again, I'm not saying that this is the exact point where I'm going to buy. Like I said, I'm going to start loading up anyway from 81K and below, and I'm going to keep DCing as it further goes down. And if it reverses anywhere before that, I'm going to load up more and move up. That's what I'm going to do. But like I said, if you're trading, if you're leveraged, you need to be careful as to what your liquidation valuations are.